Wanda.
Scarlet Witch is arguably the strongest character in the MCU right now. Her powers only continue to grow as she learns how to warp reality itself. Remember the days you needed an Infinity Stone for that kind of thing? And although Wanda seems capable of defeating just about any hero who stands in her way, I thought it would be fun today to talk about all the heroes who would put up the best fight. I think everyone on this list could beat Wanda, but it would require a very specific set of circumstances. Like in what world could Hawkeye win? Or Iron Man?
Okay, first, that's an exaggeration.
Or Black Bolt? Well, let's discuss right now. Okay, let's start off with the big one here. The hero who is most likely to beat Scarlet Witch in a fight is clearly Doctor Strange. The two have very similar skill sets, and there's a good chance the two might be at odds with each other by the time Multiverse of Madness rolls around. Although they may start off as allies, I could see a situation where Wanda wants to continue to tamper with the multiverse in order to rescue her children, while Doctor Strange would be totally team keep everything the way it is to not break everything. I mean, we saw how much compassion Strange had in No Way Home. He was all for sending the villains back home to their doomed fates if it meant restoring the multiverse.
Scooby-Doo this crap.
So the big question now would be if he's grown more compassionate after his encounter with Spider-Man, or if he's still the same sort of grumpy, arrogant egomaniac who doesn't hesitate to start casting memory spells without truly going over the implications.
Hello.
And even if Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange remain allies throughout the Multiverse of Madness, I think it's too good of an opportunity to pass up them fighting each other and showing off an awesome magic fight. So the question becomes, whose magic is stronger? See, I think in terms of raw, unparalleled power, Scarlet Witch wins this, but Strange has proven to be resourceful. Remember when he was up against Dormammu, who was clearly the stronger being, but Strange found a way to trick the all-powerful entity into doing what needed to be done.
Dormammu!
Could he do something similar to Wanda? I think so, but obviously Wanda has some tricks up her sleeve as well, since she tricked Agatha with that ruin move. But I think, given all his studying and magical prowess, Strange would know of some way to contain Wanda's power. Plus, Doctor Strange comes paired with his best friend Wong, who also knows how to handle himself in a fight. Sure, the trailers seem to suggest Wong might be in grave trouble, but I'm gonna push that thought out of my mind for now. Not thinking about it. I think if anyone was capable of beating Wanda in a fight, it's her former / still technical husband, though not really husband because she married the fake version of Vision, but also kinda her husband because fake Vision implanted all the memories of WandaVision into White Vision and, I don't know, it's a little confusing. But anyways, Vision could probably stand up to Wanda the most for a few very important reasons. For one, maybe Wanda wouldn't be capable of seeing Vision destroyed for a 48th time. I know if I was in a situation where I had to destroy the person I loved so a giant purple alien didn't get his hands on the thing powering said love, only for that giant purple alien to turn back time and destroy my love right in front of me, and then be so overcome with grief that I create a fake version of that love, only to have to say goodbye again when the hex I created disappears. All I'm saying is that if I had to fight my love after that, I'd be a little hesitant. But there's another reason here. This list is all about heroes who could defeat Scarlet Witch, and just because I said defeat doesn't mean they have to punch her out or eliminate her forever. If Wanda breaks bad and becomes a threat, then Vision is the one most likely to pull her back to reality. The power of love is strong is all I'm saying. And I would count that as a win in my book, wouldn't you? But say all that's off the table and the two really did have to exchange blows. Vision is probably in the best position to put up the best fight, right? Like he's not some fleshy human like the rest of us whose insides would turn to goo if they were hit by a reality-altering attack. No, he's a synthezoid who not only is made of vibranium, but also can phase through objects. I think the phasing part would be extremely important in a fight where someone could magically hold you in one place, right? With all that under consideration, I think Vision could win. Alright, this one will be the most controversial one. And look, I know how crazy I sound. If I started shouting to everyone I knew that Hawkeye could beat Scarlet Witch, you'd probably think I was crazy enough to lock me up next to Dr. Eric Selvig from Thor the Dark World. Yeah, I see how normally the situation would play out. Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch would be facing each other. Hawkeye would probably, and this is just an educated guess, probably shoot an arrow.
What does that mean?
Then Scarlet Witch would respond by warping reality around the battlefield and like turn Clint inside out or or something? Or turn his arrows into ignited sticks of dynamite? Or wrap him up in one of those red force fields and shoot him into the sun or something? I'm just saying, I understand that stating Hawkeye could defeat Scarlet Witch is a bit of a stretch, but before you throw your rotten fruit at your computer screens or turn the video off, let's talk through some options here. In what scenario could Hawkeye beat Scarlet Witch? For one, you have to take into account their personal connection in the MCU. Age of Ultron, or as I like to call it, Hawkeye and his amazing friends save the world. Hawkeye was the one who convinced Wanda to step outside and become an Avenger. He watched over her, had an interesting bond with her brother, and encouraged her to be a hero. Then in Civil War, it was Hawkeye who convinced Wanda to come with him and convinced her yet again to fight for their side. They do have a bond, so if anyone was to talk her out of fighting, first would be Vision, obviously, but second would be Hawkeye. And also one more thing. Hawkeye is a ranged fighter and basically a top-notch secret agent. If he had to fight Scarlet Witch, he wouldn't just charge into battle head-on. No, he would set a trap and shoot at her from a distance. Imagine Scarlet Witch is at her cabin and then without warning, a massive Pym arrow is shot at her from afar. See, if you take all those things into consideration, I don't think it's impossible for Hawkeye to win in this fight, right? There's like, what, 30% chance? 15% chance? 5% chance? Now, including Iron Man on this list made me ponder one simple question. Could Tony Stark feasibly invent some piece of technology that could counteract Wanda's magical superiority? I think that's interesting to think about. I mean, really, in the MCU, there was nothing that Tony Stark could not invent. We went from a giant metal suit in a cave to a fully nanotech suit that could form any weapon Tony could think of. He basically perfected time travel overnight. You're telling me he couldn't build something that would stop magical reality-based attacks?
No, I got some on my mind.
I could see Tony in his workshop twisting some screws and tightening some bolts, and all of a sudden creating some type of headband that's immune to Wanda's magical manipulations. See, let's give it a try and talk that out. Say the MCU explains that when Wanda alters reality and uses her powers, she's actually drawing energy from other universes, and therefore forming a new universe of her own. Tony Stark counters that by creating some type of cybernetic implant that keeps him firmly in tune with the frequency of our reality and can't be affected by the magic around him. Does it sound like sciencey word vomit? Absolutely, but it's also totally an explanation the MCU would go for. And with that problem solved, Iron Man would be free to blast Scarlet Witch away with some type of special laser. Or on top of that, maybe he just makes a containment device that can't be affected by reality warping magic to trap her. Science in the MCU has basically become like magic, so I wouldn't call this impossible, especially for someone like Tony Stark. I don't think Shang-Chi is quite ready to face Scarlet Witch in battle, but in the future, I think that would make an epic fight. The Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings movie ended with Shang-Chi taking control of the Ten Rings from his father and officially being asked to be part of the Avengers. And there's a lot to love about the Shang-Chi movie, but I think one criticism is that the rings themselves were a little lackluster. Yes, they were super powerful objects, but all of them basically amounted to creating force fields, being used for projectile weapons and energy blasts. And that's not a bad thing, but it doesn't live up to the ring's potential, especially when compared to the comics, where it's clearly established the Ten Rings all have different abilities. But at the end of Shang-Chi, they made a big deal about the origins of the rings and how ancient they were, which I believe opens the door to a sequel that unlocks potentially new abilities from the rings. Think about it, the first movie was all about him getting really good at using the Ten Rings and making it easy for the audience to understand what they were. Now that that's established and Shang-Chi looks like he has a bright future ahead of him in the MCU, that franchise can start expanding on things by having the sequel see Shang-Chi struggle to master all the new abilities the rings start showcasing. Like, they could go all out like in the comics and have one ring be a matter rearranger, one ring can be a disintegration beam ring, one ring can be a sonic boom ring, one ring that can control gravity, one ring that controls psionic energies. You see where I'm going with this? If the rings were truly able to reach their full potential, then suddenly a fight between Shang-Chi and Scarlet Witch becomes the must-see brawl of the century.
What happened to your shirt?
Sure, magic on magic fights are a lot of fun to watch because of a variety of different spells and techniques, but I also think there's something just gleefully wonderful about watching a powerful magic user battle a complete tank of a hero. And that's why I think Hulk versus Scarlet Witch would be interesting. Can you imagine a scenario where Scarlet Witch is throwing everything she has at Hulk in terms of warping reality or red blasting him or anything else she's learned to do, and the rampaging not-so-jolly green giant is forced to smash his way through all the obstacles? I'll admit, it's a tough battle for the Hulk for sure. We've already seen how easy it is for Scarlet Witch to mind control the Hulk and turn him into a dangerous, mindless weapon, and who's to say that wouldn't happen again? Honestly, not much. The only way I think Hulk would even have a chance is if he got angrier than he literally ever has before. In the comics, it's more pronounced that there's literally no limit to Hulk's strength. As he'll get stronger, the angrier he gets. So imagine Scarlet Witch's warping reality, and Hulk, who after being repressed for so long by Professor Hulk is just this white-hot ball of rage, finds himself getting stronger and stronger as he punches through all the realities Wanda is throwing at him until he lands one solid punch on Scarlet Witch, turning her basically to dust. See, this is a hard one to give to Hulk. Wanda's magic skills just seem a bit too all-powerful for the Hulk to overcome. But maybe this is literally the perfect justification for Professor Hulk. What I'm saying now is maybe facing the greatest magic user in the universe would be the perfect challenge for one of the smartest men in the universe, who currently is inhabiting the body of one of the strongest heroes in the universe. They could probably find a solution together, right? Alright, I wanted to take an entry or two to talk about the Illuminati. The Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness trailer heavily hinted the involvement of some type of multiversal Illuminati, who in the comics are composed of some of the smartest minds in the universe, whose goal it is to secretly protect the world. With the group seemingly involved in the MCU soon, let's talk about some of their most powerful members, and if they could successfully stop Scarlet Witch. First up is Black Bolt. Wait, Black Bolt? You mean the lead character in the beloved Marvel TV show The Inhumans? Yeah, we don't talk about that show anymore. Anyways, the Multiverse of Madness, it gives us a chance to reintroduce a new version of Black Bolt who's usually on the Illuminati, and he comes with a wicked power. His voice is the strongest voice in the universe. And no, I'm not just saying Black Bolt is capable of rocking at karaoke night with Shang-Chi, Katie, and Wong, but rather his voice can practically level planets. If he started screaming at Scarlet Witch, I don't know how well Wanda could defend herself. Sure, Black Bolt may destroy everything in the surrounding area in order to take Wanda out, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. The other member of the Illuminati who could feasibly take down Wanda would be Professor X. It's pretty clear that that's Patrick Stewart's voice in the Multiverse of Madness trailer, returning as some multiverse version of Professor X.
We should tell him the truth.
And if push came to shove, he could probably subdue Wanda if necessary. He's one of the most powerful telepaths ever, which means he can not only read minds, but also create powerful illusions and perform mind control. In retrospect, mind control might be the only way to fully stop Wanda from breaking everything in all universes if she wanted. Professor X could use his abilities to basically do what Wanda did to the Avengers in Age of Ultron. Like, it's not outside the realm of possibility that Professor X could trap Wanda in some sort of mind prison where she's reunited with Vision and her kids and thinks that's real for a bit. Professor X could totally do that. For one of my final entries, I wanted to talk about the One Above All. For those that don't know, the One Above All is, well, the name is kind of self-explanatory. They are the supreme ruler of the entire multiverse. They are all-powerful, omnipresent, omniscient, and are miles above even the other massive cosmic entities like Dormammu, the Living Tribunal, the Beyonder. All of them are just like ants to the One Above All. So yeah, obviously if they wanted to, they could destroy Scarlet Witch no matter how powerful she is. But the reason I wanted to talk about the One Above All is because of the story potential surrounding them. I am extremely fascinated in the idea that Wanda will continue to grow in strength and power. She's already warping reality and only getting stronger, so who's to say there's a cap on her abilities? And imagine a storyline as she just keeps amassing power that she eventually becomes a new god, then gets the power of someone like the Watcher, then surpasses that level to eventually be able to have a one-on-one talk with the One Above All. That's a fascinating arc. Alright, I think that's about it, and, oh wait, what's this? I've just been handed a note saying there's one more entry who thinks they could beat Scarlet Witch in a fight. Oh, it's Deadpool.
Anyway,
He broke the fourth wall again and crossed over to our world in order to make his case for why he could defeat Scarlet Witch. And you know what? Maybe it's possible. I mean, Wanda is all about two things, mind control and reality manipulation. Yeah, good luck using either of those on Deadpool. Deadpool's mind is already so fractured and scattered that I think any attempt at mind control would fail and probably backfire. And then reality manipulation is no problem either. You can't break reality around Deadpool when he already basically exists outside of all reality as it is. In fact, Deadpool is basically the master of all reality with his fourth wall breaks, and that should make someone like Scarlet Witch a little scared. Yeah, okay, I could see it. Deadpool could totally take on Scarlet Witch. Let's see that happen. These are all the heroes who could potentially beat Scarlet Witch, but what about the villains? Do you think any villains in the MCU could stand a chance against Wanda? I mean, Dormammu feels like the safest choice there. Sorry, Whiplash, I don't think you'd make the cut.